All right, good morning, gentlemen, and thanks for coming, and welcome to Notes for Successful Migration from Sybase to Microsoft SQL Server. My name is Denny Cherry. Email address is up there. I got some business cards here. So what I want to talk about today is one of the migrations that we did a little while back for one of our customers from Sybase to SQL Server. So one of the things that made this interesting was we had a major thing we were fighting against as part of this migration, and those would be the laws of physics. So we were actually doing this migration not only from Sybase to SQL Server, but we also had to move from a data center in Texas to AWS West. So we were in the process of doing this, also moving about 2,000 miles, moving the services about 2,000 miles. So things got a little more complicated than they might have normally gotten because of that, but a lot of these rules would apply even if these servers were in the same data center, just because of the size of the system we were trying to move. So what I'm going to cover today is I want to talk about how we did this migration, what we migrated, and and then kind of how we actually did it, or what the process was that we kind of walked through it. So, what we actually migrated and what we did was a lot of Linux VMs that were running, or what we had were a lot of Linux VMs that were running this service. So the web tier was Linux, the database was obviously Sybase, so it was also running on Linux, not on Windows. So we had a lot of issues that we had to deal with just in that space to actually get the application moved, as we wanted to be able to move from a Sybase backend to the SQL Server backend without changing the front end, or with changing it as little as possible. Since the whole reason we were doing this migration in this particular case was the customer had bought the application from the previous owner, and as part of this migration and taking ownership of this app, they wanted to be able to move this off to SQL Server. So as we did this, the whole database was about a terabyte in size. So it was a good size amount of data that we had to actually move, a fairly long distance to make this work. One of the big challenges we had from a database perspective is the fact that we had no identifying information in the rows, that those new rows had been added to the database. So we were literally taking rows that we thought were okay, and we were moving them, and then we're taking rows that we thought were new, and we had to figure out that they were new and then move them. And we had to do that in the smallest amount of time possible, because we ended up with a fairly small downtime window to actually do this migration. So our cutover window that we got approved by the business was only an hour. So we could only have the app down for an hour with a terabyte database to move 2,000 miles. So obviously the numbers here just really don't add up for, just a simple down the app, move it, and bring it back up. And this is what most applications are going to be dealing with, is a large database and a small amount of time to actually move the app. So how do we do that, especially when we can't identify new rows and what we need to move? Because that was our big problem, and one of the bigger problems we had to deal with when we were doing this migration. The only real upside we had was we had all the bandwidth we could want. We're moving out of one major internet company in Texas, and we're moving to AWS. So that was the upside, is we had have all the bandwidth that we needed to actually get this migration accomplished. The downside was the latency from Texas to Seattle is 35 milliseconds or so. So our choices for actually doing a migration were basically two options. SQL Server Integration Services, so we can roll the process ourselves and build our own system to actually do this migration, or we could use SQL Server Migration Assistant and let SQL Server do the moving of the data for us. What we ended up using was a combination of these two products to do this migration. We used Database Migration Assistant for the small tables, and then we used SQL Server Integration Services, and we rolled our own process for the larger tables, because that's what made the most sense for this particular project. And we kind of used the best of both worlds there to get that done. So our general process was that we were going to need about 3 to 4 days if we just picked up the database and moved it, because we were moving so much data such a long period of time. So that obviously wasn't going to work. So our largest tables had about 1 billion rows of data that we had to actually move. So again, we're talking a good amount of data for this actual migration from point A to point B to actually get this process moved. So our biggest issue, or one of our many big issues, was we couldn't make any changes to the database because we wanted to keep the application change as small as possible as they moved from Linux to, or Sybase to SQL Server. So we were trying, our goal was to just simply make it so there was a connection string change, and that was it. Because obviously that was going to have to change as they were talking to SQL Server now. We also had a hard deadline. We had to be done by date X, whatever the date was, that we had to get this finished by because of contractual requirements. So like I said, Company A bought the service from Company B, and their contract to buy the service included a hard date. They were going to have the service out of that Company A's data center by. So we had to get this migration done, and we had a very, very small window to actually get it done with. So like I said, with our smaller tables, we fired up the database migration system and actually did those the night of the cutover. So they were very, very simple. They were just our lookup tables as we were moving them across to SQL Server. So this was a very simple process to just migrate these across because the database migration system took care of all the heavy lifting for us. We actually did all the stored procedures and the table schemas through the same process in advance, and then we used integration services for the large data, and then we used the migration system to actually move the small data across that night of the cutover. This was all fairly static data, so we weren't really too worried about this data changing over the course of time. Our large tables, on the other hand, were a little more complex. These were our biggest tables, and so obviously there was a lot of data to deal with and no way to figure out what we needed to move. If we just said move everything and then move what was left, there was nothing to tell us what was left part. There were no date fields, there were no bits in the database that said rows had been changed, and rows were not only being added, but they were being updated as well. So we not only had to inspect our old rows, we had to copy new rows. So we had a lot of duplicate data we had to move and then do updates on the to figure out what we were actually moving. So the upside to all this was no rows were ever deleted out of the source system. So because this removed one layer of complexity to the process, because we didn't have to compare what we had in the new system with the old system and see what was missing and then delete it when we were done, because that would have added a whole nother layer of complexity to this process. We could have dealt with it, but thankfully we didn't have to, and we would have handled that in our integration. Our rows in this case were extremely wide. This is a survey-based application with free-form text fields. So there were some extremely wide rows, several thousand bytes wide. So moving these rows was a fairly complex operation. So we used SIS to do this, to actually move these rows and figure out what rows needed to be updated. So I want to talk a little bit about that SIS package. We actually built an SIS package which ran daily, and I think as we got closer to the migration, we ran it more and more often because we wanted to minimize the amount of data that we actually needed to move to actually get to the point where we are actually doing that migration. So the big thing we did in this package to figure out which rows had to be migrated was we actually built an MD5 hash of the row, and we stored it off in another database. So what we ended up doing is standing up a Scratch database in the source data center. And that Scratch database simply held the primary key of the value that we were dealing with and the MD5 hash of that row. So we could simply store all those MD5 hashes close to our source system, and we could then conveniently run this package at the source environment. We didn't have to drag all this data across the wire and then insert it. We were only dragging the data across the wire that we actually had to insert. So we'd pull all the data from all these tables from the source system, calculate the MD5 hash of that row, and then compare the primary key and the MD5 hash we just calculated to the primary key and the MD5 hash we were storing in our Scratch database. If the row existed, and the MD5 was the same, we simply threw away the row because we knew the row hadn't changed. If the MD5 was different and the row existed in the source, we knew the row had been updated, so we would copy it across and we'd send it across the wire. If the row did not exist in the MD5 or in the Scratch database, and it existed in production, obviously, it was a new row. We'd simply store it in the Scratch database and we'd shoot it across the wire. So while we were reading from the production database constantly, for several hours every morning when this would run, so we could figure out what rows to move, the amount of data that we moved across the wire after the first run of this package was actually fairly small. We're talking, several million rows out of, a billion plus rows every single day had to be fed, and that was it. So it was a fairly efficient process for us to actually move all these rows across. All my bullet points I just talked about. So like I said, that Scratch database did store that primary key and the MD5, and then we would figure out what was actually sent. So when we did run this package, it was a relatively quick package to run. That first time, obviously notwithstanding, because that would have taken forever. But after that, it became very quick to run this package, just 5, 10, 15 minutes or so for this package to actually run and push this data across the wire. So this became a very efficient process for us to run. And again, as that package ran more often and more often, that runtime would have been less and less and less every day. Now, obviously, there would have been a point where it couldn't get any faster because it was reading the entire billion-row table or several billion-row tables out of production. But that was just, how fast the hard drives in production could go as it would spit that data out at us. The end goal of all of this was obviously move the database. And we were able to do that in under the amount of time that we told the customer we were able to do. So we not only moved our database, but we moved our database to SQL Server in less than an hour when it came to that final cutover. Our database migration was done in about 15, 20 minutes. Then they made the configuration change in the config file of the application and changed the connection string. And at that point, just changed the public DNS so it was pointing to the AWS servers. And then the application was back up and running and everything was moving again. Public IP address migration was obviously staged in advance. We lowered the TTL in DNS so that we could do that database migration swing fairly quickly and easily. As a backup to that, we would have changed the connection string on the application servers, or on the web servers rather, at the old site as well, so they were simply pointing to the new database server, so that if a user was pointed to the old site, they would simply be storing their information in the correct place until they swung over to the new location. Once the contract date expired, then the old owner of the application would have just deleted all the VMs that owned this application originally. We did do some additional performance tuning once this was in SQL Server, because once it was in SQL Server, it now became our problem to deal with, because it was now our client's application that was actually owning the app. So we were able to do some additional performance tuning, some additional index maintenance. The tools that SQL Server gives us were so much easier to use than some of the Sybase tools. We were able to look at things like execution plans and figure out what indexes need to be created so we could get even better performance out of the application than the application was getting on the source system. So basically, the customer not only bought an app, they bought an app that performed better than the app they bought. So they were very happy with that end state. We did add a few indexes that were missing because the old owners of the app either didn't know they needed to add these indexes or simply just didn't add them because they didn't see a need to add them. The end state of all this, as far as the end users were concerned that actually used the application, all they knew is that we took the app down for an hour and we brought it back up. They didn't know we changed databases because they didn't need to know and they didn't need to care. All they knew was that the app was still running and everything was able to continue moving forward and they were able to still use their application the next day. The upside to all this, the application may have been down for an hour, was down obviously over a Saturday night or Sunday night, so the customers didn't really get too impacted. by the application being down. So, are there any questions about the migration we performed or the work we did to actually move it? Yell loud, I can't hear you.
I probably have a lot more, so I'll talk to you after.
All right.
But what version of Sybase and how did the web app respond to the change from Sybase to SQL?
So the question was, which version of Sybase were we using, and how did the web app respond to the migration? So I don't remember what version they were using, but it was old. It was not one of the newer versions of ASE. It was an older version of Sybase, because it was still called Sybase. How the web app responded is the web app didn't even know. All we did was we just installed the appropriate connector for JDBC, for SQL Server, and then they were able to connect up. And then we actually used database mirroring in the AWS side to actually set up HA for the web servers.
So to follow up on that, so you just did mirroring and try to move it to SQL always on?
So the question was, we used mirroring and not AGs. So the version of SQL Server we moved to didn't support AGs in standard, because we moved to SQL 2014, I believe. Just because that was what the customer wanted to move to. So it didn't. They wanted to use standard because expensive. So we couldn't afford enterprise, so we couldn't use AGs. So it wouldn't have been an option. Otherwise, we would have gone that way. But yeah, we did use mirroring. The application did use it okay. The only trick they ran across that they had to deal with was the JDBC driver they were using was some third-party JDBC driver, so it didn't support the other mirroring name. So that part they had to deal with manually as far as the failover. So they would have had to edit the connection strength and do the failover. If they had used a newer, better JDBC driver, they wouldn't have had that problem. But that was a requirement of the app to use that driver, and that's all web server stuff that I don't understand and isn't my problem. All I knew is the connection worked, and that part of my job was done.
It sounds like your migration went from company A to company B, so
Mm-hmm.
there was no retooling involved with the old plan. I guess that's where one of my questions would have been, like, how did, the tools and systems management, training, et cetera, happen? But it sounds like where you migrated to, they were already a SQL shop, and that's what they were familiar with?
Yeah, so the question was, what sort of retooling or retraining had to be done as we moved from point A to point B. And yeah, we were lucky. We didn't really have to do that much because, yeah, we were going from company A to company B. And they were familiar with SQL Server. So I cheated to get into this company. Their CTO, I had been at his last company as a consultant. So he just called me up and said, hey, I need to do this migration. I have like a month to do it. Can you start tomorrow? So they were already knew the SQL Server stuff at least a little bit. If we were working with it today, because they were primarily a Linux shop with some SQL Server knowledge, but no Sybase knowledge, I probably would have gotten them SQL Server on Linux if this had been done in the last 12 months. Because then we would have been able to go SQL Server 2017 with SQL on Linux, or maybe even SQL in containers and give them some additional HA that they wouldn't have had, because they were using an old version of SQL Server on Windows. But yeah, we cheated on the fact that we didn't have to do any retraining to get the company into the SQL Server world. If this was the same company migration, you can use some of the newer tools if they're using Linux workstations, for example, because you are dealing with a Linux team managing primarily Linux servers. You can use Azure Data thingy that they just renamed last week that I can't remember the name of. You can install that on Linux, Windows, Mac, whatever, and it will work, and it will allow you to connect to SQL servers. It'll allow you to connect to, and then connect that to other instances if you're using the newest version of SQL. So you've got some options as to what to install from a management tool perspective, at least, so you can stay on that non-Windows workstation if you need to, and have parity between that Windows world and the non-Windows world for installing those tools. So that at least comes in handy. So we are unfortunately all out of time for today. I do thank you very much for coming. Do make sure that you set up evals or submit your evals for any session that you do see here at Ignite, so that Microsoft is able to properly evaluate the speakers and the sessions you saw. Thank you very much for coming. I'll be in the booth the rest of the day if anybody has any questions. Otherwise, thank you.